onboard race footage from the British Cyclocross National Championships, and the adrenaline hit me like a drug, and I went out like a lunatic trying to go with the big boys in front of me, and did I pay for it? Oh boy, was this race full gas. It was so fast off the line. We're absolutely hammering it, and I got squeezed a little bit to the right there because everyone's trying to get that inside line, and up this climb it was savage. Everyone, look at the watts I'm doing. I'm cashing checks that I shouldn't be right now. My eyes were jumping out of my flipping head, and I was just like, in my head I was saying, you got to just go with it, George. You've got to go with it. This is what it's all about. But my legs and my lungs were saying, what on earth are you doing, Georgie boy? But I took an absolute wicked line and made up a few spots around the outside there. But honestly, it was so fast. Look, I'm rubbing shoulders with Groupama FDJ right now. Your boy's a machine, but he does squeeze me out there. But everyone's just, look at this. Look, oh, elbow to elbow, love it. If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. But oh my, it was so fast from the gun. Like, I think the problem is all of the front boys that are trying to win national champs, win the title, peak for this, and they are on top form. And your boy is way out of his depth. This is way above my pay grade, and I'm still just trying to go with it. And like, I remember here absolutely ripping it out of this corner onto this drag, and I was on the Hope Riders wheel, and I start to see people come round me to the left just here, and I'm like, you got to go with that, Georgie boy. So what do? I start going with it. I think this is the first Hope Rider I've ever overtaken in my life. But we were going so fast into this corner, I was nearly in the railing because everyone just starts swinging wide. Look how close we're all getting. Look at that. Jeez. And yet again, look, I'm doing like 800 watts. I am not capable of maintaining these numbers. Trust me, I went deep. And your boy was a shell, but I could actually still see the front of the race for the first time in my life, like 2 minutes in. Normally they're gone at this point, but this was the decisive moment in the race for me. When I come down here, I'm still like spiking out of these corners, doing like 400-500 watts. I'm on the wheel. I think that's Max Greensill in front, and he is an absolute animal. He's won absolutely everything. And now we come into this corner, and this climb destroyed me. I'm doing 500 watts after all of those big efforts that I've just done, and what I should have, like, in hindsight, I feel like I should have paced this a bit. Like, look, doing 800 watts, I am not capable of these numbers, ladies and gentlemen. And when I came over the top, boy, oh boy, did I realise this. And it wasn't till I dismounted for the hurdles in a second. Look, I've had to ease off now. People are just starting to go past me because I was absolutely in a world of hurt. I dismounted for these hurdles. My legs were like jelly. And I trip on the first hurdle. And then I just get over the second, go to remount. And I end up in the Superman position, balls on the saddle, like Tom Pidcock. Unintentionally, and then down here just pure carnage. Luckily I sneaked through that gap in the middle, then managed to make up a spot. But yeah, it was when I got to them hurdles I realised your boy has gone deeper than he's ever gone, and there was no coming back from this point. It was absolute hell from this point on. I was like 3 minutes 30 in, and I was like, this is pretty much race over for me, but I'm still trying to go with it. Like, the adrenaline was absolutely insane, and where all the fans are getting you going, everyone's cheering, rattling the bells, and I had so many people supporting me. And like here, I remember like running up the inside. I was actually off the bike there running. As I remounted, I then didn't get up this bank and had to do the old chopper truffle shuffle to get to the top. The big problem for me was I didn't have the power to get up any of these banks, and on lap 1 it was sort of alright. Although I was in an absolute world of hurt, everyone else was having to dismount. Look, you could see all the problems because of the traffic, stuff like that. But the problem is, when it got into lap 2, all of these strong, fast, powerful boys were actually riding up these banks. And I don't know if it was a technique thing, if it was a power thing, but for the life of me, look, that's how good my start is. It's taken 4 minutes 30 for Tom Cousins to get past me. Normally, he's been and gone by now. God, keep up, Tom. But no, in all seriousness, I don't know if it was power or technique, but I just could not get up any of the banks. I just didn't have the power. And then when I was having to dismount, it was really slow. But on top of that, it was also, I couldn't get clipped back in. So there were certain points where I was trying to get clipped back in, and then before you know it, you're into the next bank. And I then didn't have enough speed to get up it. And it was just like these compounding mistakes where I was in such a red line position. Like, I was so red lined, I was making mistakes, I wasn't able to get clipped back in, I couldn't get my leg over the bike when I was remounting. It was pure hell. And it was this point here, like all the lads on the right wraps, you go nuts cheering me on, and I was just thinking, what have you let yourself in for here, Georgie boy? But yeah, it was this point here where I just knew I had to ease off the gas a bit. Look, I'm doing like 200 watts now, which is like zone 2, and every man and his dog just starts coming past me. And I'm like, this is it. I'm in pure survival mode. Every wheel, before the race, Del Boy said to me, when someone goes past you, get on the wheel and glue yourself to it. And I was trying to tell myself that, but every time someone went past me, I was like, I've got nothing. I'm absolutely Ian Build right now, and I'm trying my best. The course was absolutely savage. There was just nowhere to rest. Even on these sections where you think you're going to get a bit of rest, there was no rest. And where it was so dry, it was just so fast. And when I watch back some of the footage of me going past pits and then Cameron Mason going past pits, it was phenomenal, the speed he was going at. But look, I've lost another 2 places, and I think I'll lose a couple more on this next stretch. And I was just in the hurt box like never before. Del Boy was shouting at me right now, like, hold the wheel, and I was trying with everything I had. But once you've gone too deep, I just can't recover from that. I think the top boys, sometimes I watch like the proper top boys like Mason and that out in Belgium, and they go deep and drop back off and somehow manage to recover. When I go deep, that is it. And it was just here where the whole world pulled away from me, and I was like, honestly, it doesn't look like much of a climb, and I was trying to put out the power, but I was just labouring. Look at my shadow. I'm an absolute shell of a man doing like 200 watts. But obviously I don't have heart rate on because my heart rate monitor wasn't working, so I just took it off the screen rather than people saying, how's your heart rate at 120? It was stuck really low for some reason. So I didn't actually know how deep I'd gone, but I can tell you right now, my heart rate was maxed out. Look at this lad going past me, little thumbs up to the camera. And look, I'm doing like 100 watts. I'm just in absolute shell city. But I was trying to say to myself, don't give up, don't give up. You might be able to recover from this. And it was the fact that there were so many people there cheering me on. I was like, don't embarrass yourself, Georgie boy. Just dig in, make it hurt. And I was trying absolutely everything I could. And this bit of the course was savage as well, because you drop down this super steep descent and it's into the wall. It was a really tricky off-camber section just here, and I kept getting it horribly wrong, swinging right out wide over towards the tape and then having to put out so much power to get up this little climb, and then you're like burying yourself. Look at everyone just clambering up this wall. It was hell. It doesn't look like much, but it was so steep, and you're just trying to get in any foothold you can. And when you're on the limit, getting off, and look at this though, proper Razzo fan, big ads with the sign. Look at him going nuts on the left. Love it, love to see it. And it was everyone that was cheering me on that kept me going, because to be honest, right now, I was just ready to throw the towel in. I was like, you're done, George, this is it. But I'm going to keep playing the action, because every wheel that went past, I was just trying to jump on, had absolutely nothing. But I was fighting to the absolute death, because I got a good start. I was sort of saying to myself, maybe that's helped me hold Cameron Mason off for a little bit longer than I'd have expected. But look, right now, I'm not even at like zone 3 watts for me, and I could not do anything. Next guy goes past me, next guy goes past me, and that was the story of it. I went way too deep, but I don't think it was a bad decision, because when you're in that moment, it's so hard to like control your emotions and say like, George, settle in and just go at your own pace, because you see everyone pinging it and you just tell yourself, I've got to go with this. And you're not looking at, in a cyclocross race, you're not really looking at power, heart rate, because the watch is on my wrist, so I can't see it anyway. You're just going off like raw emotions, if that's the right word to put it, or you're just going with what is in front of you. And for me, it was probably a bad move. Racing at this level is not like racing at the Wessex League. Like, I can get a good start at a Wessex League, be leading it out. Here, it's just another step up. But one thing I was happy with, that pure commitment to the race start. That is the first time, look, lost another spot. And even up here, I'm still like trying to do like 500 watts just to hold the wheel up this climb. And it doesn't look like much, this climb, but it was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And yeah, my proudest moment of this race was actually committing to the race start, not being scared for once and just going for it and giving it beans and getting my elbows out and being more aggressive than I have in the past. The big problem was I just didn't have the legs to sustain it, which is such a shame, because I don't know, maybe if I did pace it I could have came back through and had a bit of a better result, but I just had to go with it at the start. Just like the adrenaline was pumping and it was absolutely insane. But I ended up in no man's land. Then I got overtaken by the RAF lad and I tried to go with him. Yet again, couldn't go with him. I was just dropping spots. Like, every man and his dog's coming past me now. I can't react to it. I can't go with it. And I was just in no man's land. And at this point, I knew it was only a matter of time before Mr. Cameron Mason come past me, and I was trying everything to stay out there as long as possible, because obviously you've travelled a long way, there's loads of people cheering you on and you're like, you've got to stay on it, but I just kept making mistakes. I think here I get caught in the meshing, then I couldn't get out of that, absolutely faff, and just where I was in so much pain, I was making silly mistakes. Up here, couldn't get up this bank, then had to do another truffle shuffle. Look at this. It was embarrassing at points because I just couldn't do anything about it. I was a shell. And it was this point here where Mr. Cameron Mason comes absolutely flying past me. And I knew he was coming because I could hear all the crowd getting up a bit, and I thought, try and go with him to get a cheeky little bit of footage for the race video. But you can see my shadow. I'm absolutely bricking it because I want to get out of the way. I don't want to block him at all. I go over to this side, look over, and then I realise he wants that side. So then I'm over the other side. But look at the speed he comes past me at. What on earth? Even if I wanted to, even if I was fresh, I could not go at that speed. It was absolutely mind-boggling, the speed he went past me at. So I take my hat off to that man. He was on another level, so fair play to that. I did almost catch the RAF lad up the wall, but I didn't quite have the beans at the end, unfortunately, and that was race over. It was a wicked atmosphere. Thank you to everyone that cheered me on. I went deep, I gave it the beans, but didn't have the legs, but it was still absolutely wicked. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.